Now, Ethiopian and Eritrean government forces appear to have launched an attack in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray, targeting rebel forces. According to Getachew Reda, the Tigray People's Liberation Front spokesperson, forces from both countries attacked rebels in Adayabo in the north of the region. Fighting resumed last week after a 5-month truce, and the resumption of the conflict has seen clashes on the ground as well as air raids over Tigray. This has put at risk the chances of planned peace talks to resolve the nearly 2-year war. Both the Tigrayan forces and Ethiopian authorities are blaming each other for the escalation in the conflict. To give us their perspective on what's happening on the ground, we're now joined by the Secretary of the Tigray Association in South Africa, Dr. Hafte Gebresilassie. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me, and I appreciate SABC on behalf of the people of Tigray for continuously reporting the Tigray genocide.
Thank you so much for your time. What is the situation on the ground in the Tigray region at the moment?
Yeah, the situation on the ground is a hell on the earth because a 6.8 million people of Tigray has been sealed off from the entire world for 21 months and counting, because there is no food, there is no medicine, there is no telecommunication, there is no banking, there is no electricity, because all these services are weaponized. Imagine that there is a load shedding here in South Africa for 1 hour or 2, and how hard it is making for the life of South Africans and you in particular. So the people of Tigray has been denied electricity for 21 months. They can't use their own savings because the government cut off the banking service. There is no electricity, there is no telecommunication in Tigray region, and this has been weaponized for the last 21 months. So in general, the situation in Tigray is hell on earth.
All right, we saw recently airstrikes in Mekele killing children. The Ethiopian ambassador to South Africa brought into question reports that civilians are being targeted. What's your knowledge of what's happening on the ground?
Yeah, actually, this air strike is not for the first time. It has been there whereby hospitals, schools, children, civilians has been killed because of the air strike. And actually, I have heard about the professionalism of the Ethiopian Defense Forces, which the ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Mukhtar, were trying to say about the professionalism of the NDF, who just killed more than 500,000 Tigrayans, gang raped more than 22,500 Tigrayan women and girls, and they are the reason for the flood of around 70,000 Tigrayans to neighboring Sudan. And 2.2 million of Tigrayans have been internally displaced, and 6.8 million Tigrayans has been sealed off from the entire world. And he said that these soldiers, these military soldiers are professional. So this happened by the Ethiopian Defense Force alongside their allied forces of the Eritrean forces, the Amhara forces, the Amhara militia, and the Amhara Fano. And this has been there for the last 21 months.
Addis Ababa is blaming the Tigrayans for the latest escalation in the conflict. Why has the fighting resumed?
Okay, the first one is the reason why the fight has been resumed. Actually, the fight has been there. It's only changing its style, because weaponizing this food, weaponizing medicine, weaponizing telecommunication, weaponizing banks, weaponizing electricity by itself is a war. But the temporary ceasefire negotiated to facilitate the humanitarian aid is violated by the Abiy government in Addis after it shielded the Tigrayan army position in northwestern Tigray on 15th of August 2022. And subsequently, Peter, the troops of the regime, the soldiers of the Abiy regime in Addis, have also attempted to break the defensive lines in southern Tigray, which is repulsed. So the reason why the Abiy government started or chosen this time is that the regime had thought this is the right moment, this is the right time to invade Tigray, because they know that the region, the people in Tigray are in man-made famine. So they believe that this is the right time to invade the Tigray before they revive from the man-made famine. I also blame actually the international community. They share the blame because they failed to start to broker the peace. They failed to put necessary pressure on the Abiy regime in order to continue the peace, the negotiation process. Even on the African side, it's not encouraging either, because as you remember, the African Union Commissioner and his special envoy, Obasanjo, mobilized the failure of Africa and the African Union to manage the African problems. There is this slogan, Peter, African solution to the African problems. And this is just an empty slogan in the current state of affairs of Tigray.
All right, so you don't have much faith in the African Union then, but former President Obasanjo seems to be saying that progress is being made.
Okay, if the progress is being made, where is the progress now? War is officially launched, and the people of Tigray has been shielded by all means of weapons of the federal forces, along with the Eritrean forces and the Amhara troops, the Amhara militia, the Amhara Fano. So where is the progress? Actually, the reason even for that's what I say, that the African side is not encouraging, and we lose faith on Obasanjo because of the lack of progress in the past peace negotiation process.
All right. So does this mean the end of the peace talks potential and trying to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict?
Well, actually, I can't say that this is the end, but we have seen that the federal government has no interest to address this problem, to address this war peacefully. We believe that, and the Tigray people believe that, the Tigray people crave for peace. We believe war is not a solution to the problem. We believe war is not a solution to the existing conflict between the people of Tigray and the federal government. But what I can say is the ball is in Abiy's court. That's what I can say. The ball is in Abiy's court. The ball is in the international community's court. The ball is in African Union's court, whether to address this problem or not. We tried, the government of Tigray tried all its level-based effort to address the problem, because the people of Tigray are dying because of lack of food, lack of medication, they can't use their own savings. So the Tigray government is trying to its best level effort in order to address this problem and save its own people.
Tell us a little bit about the long-standing territorial dispute between Tigray and Amhara, for example. Tigrayan forces are being accused of invading neighboring territories, looting and killing civilians.
Well, actually, before the war, before November 2020, there was a disagreement between Amhara and Tigray on the border, not only between Amhara and Tigray, between Oromia and Amhara, between Oromia and Benshangul Gumuz, between Benshangul Gumuz and Amhara, between Somalia and Afar. Border conflicts were there, but I can say that is not the only reason for the launching of the war in Ethiopia. And what I can say is that you raised about the invading. The Tigrayans are invading to Amhara, and this, the people are sealed off. The Tigrayans have no intention, they have no any sort of intention to invade or to control the territories of Amhara. But the people are in a complete blockade. So they have to find out a way to break the siege. They are trying to address or to break the siege. They don't have any intention of controlling Amhara territory. And this is clearly stated by the government of Tigray, at the same time by even the military command of Tigray.
So another issue, the United Nations and the World Food Programme have accused Tigrayan authorities of stealing crucial fuel supplies which were there to support food distribution plans. Why are they doing this?
Actually, the government of Tigray has not stolen any fuel tankers, and this is clearly stated by Getachew Reda, because the government of Tigray had loaned over 600,000 liters of fuel to the World Food Programme, and this is based on agreement between the government of Tigray and the World Food Programme. So the government of Tigray, they demanded it back in accordance with the agreement, and the agreement is a written agreement which is accessible online. So on top of that, the fuel will be used in order to save basic services, in order to run basic services such as hospitals, such as clinics, because as I have said before, due to the blockade, there is no electricity in Tigray. So hospitals and clinics are running out of fuel. So they have to get back the fuel they borrowed they lent to the World Food Programme based on the agreement and save the lives of Tigrayans. Because the reason the World Food Programme are using this fuel is in order to save the people of Tigray. So the government of Tigray are trying to save the lives of the needy by using this fuel for hospitals and for clinics.
All right, perhaps finally, tell us a little bit about the humanitarian situation on the ground. We already have a drought in the region, and then this coupled with conflict, I can only imagine how difficult things are for people inside Tigray. Tell us a little bit about their daily struggles and what's happening inside Tigray.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter. You know what I have said before, the humanitarian crisis in Tigray is hell on earth. Thus, I can repeat, it is hell on earth. Imagine that a people without having cash for the last 21 months, a people without having medicine for the last 21 months, without food, without electricity. This is a hell on earth. And the people are sealed off. They couldn't get, for example, for me, I'm a new PhD graduate now. I was supposed to go back at home, back home to Ethiopia, but I couldn't go because of the war. I can't go to Addis because I know that my friends are there, targeted, arrested, detained because of their ethnicity, because they are Tigrayans. I can't go there. I don't know what is happening in Tigray. I don't know whether my family are alive or died. Even in Addis, I have friends which I couldn't contact them because they are arrested, and I don't know their whereabouts as well. So the humanitarian crisis in Ethiopia, the humanitarian, in Tigray region is hell on earth. That's the reason why we are saying that the only solution to the problem is peace. The only solution to the problem is coming to the negotiation table. And the government of Tigray repeatedly raised this issue for many times.
Dr. Hafte Gebresilassie, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on the program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Peter, for you.
Thank you. All right, that's the Secretary of the Tigray Association in South Africa, Dr. Hafte Gebresilassie, describing the situation for Tigrayans in Tigray, that's north of Ethiopia, saying that it is hell on earth. Fighting has escalated in the last week or so, and we saw children being killed in a playground in Tigray. And both sides are blaming each other. There were peace talks lined up. There was a truce that lasted 5 months, but the fighting has just begun, and reports now that Eritrea may be involved. This is a situation we'll continue monitoring for you. Stay with us for that in future bulletins.